Did you hear that?
Dude, come here. Did you see it?
Holy crap. That's toe prints. That is 4, 5 separated toes.
For decades, people across the forests of the Pacific Northwest have reported encounters with something enormous. A creature walking upright through the trees, leaving behind footprints far larger than any known animal. Figures glimpsed at the edge of clearings before disappearing into the dark. For a long time, these accounts remained difficult to take seriously. But the question they raise has never entirely gone away. Could something like Bigfoot actually exist? Not as folklore, not as legend, but as a living animal still moving through remote forests that science has never fully mapped. To answer that question honestly requires looking at what the forests of North America actually contain, what biology says about large undiscovered animals, what the evidence record truly shows. Because the answer is more complicated than a simple yes or no. The Pacific Northwest is one of the most densely forested regions on the continent. The Cascade Range alone extends across roughly 700 kilometers of mountain terrain covered in thick coniferous forest. Much of this land is steep, roadless, and receives some of the heaviest rainfall in North America. That reduces visibility, slows movement, and complicates any systematic survey. About 1/3 of all reported Bigfoot sightings in North America are concentrated in this region, a pattern that has remained consistent for more than 60 years. North America is not the Amazon. It is a continent with roads, trail cameras, satellite imaging. Millions of people moving through its forests every year. Modern game cameras can monitor animal traffic continuously. Drones equipped with infrared sensors can cover terrain that would take field researchers days to reach on foot. And yet no confirmed biological evidence of an unknown large primate has been recovered. No bones, no verified body, no conclusive genetic material that cannot be traced to a known species. The history of zoology suggests some caution before answering too quickly. The okapi, a large forest mammal related to the giraffe, was entirely unknown to Western science until 1901. Local populations in the Congo had known it for generations, but the animal had never been formally described. The saola, a large bovine discovered in the Annamite Mountains of Vietnam, was not identified by scientists until 1992. A creature weighing more than 100 kilograms had been living in a forested mountain range, completely undocumented, until a research team found physical evidence in a hunter's collection. The question for Bigfoot then becomes one of geography and probability. Have researchers systematically surveyed the exact regions where Bigfoot reports concentrate most heavily? Could this logic apply to something like Bigfoot? That depends on what the creature is actually proposed to be. The most scientifically grounded version of the hypothesis suggests it could be a surviving population of Gigantopithecus, a large extinct ape known from fossils found in Asia. Gigantopithecus blacki is estimated to have stood up to 3 meters tall and weighed several hundred kilograms. It disappeared from the fossil record roughly 300,000 years ago, though some researchers have suggested the timeline may be less certain than it appears. The problem is that all known Gigantopithecus fossils come from Southeast Asia, not North America. For the hypothesis to work, a population would have had to cross from Asia into North America via the Bering Land Bridge, and then spread through the continent without leaving a single recoverable fossil or specimen. That is an extraordinary requirement. And the fossil record of North America, while incomplete, is not so poorly documented that a large primate could have moved through it without any trace for hundreds of thousands of years. So what does that leave? It leaves the reports themselves. And the reports are substantial in number. Tens of thousands of sightings documented across more than a century, described by hunters, hikers, forestry workers, researchers who encountered something they could not identify. Many of these accounts describe the same physical characteristics across regions and decades. A large, bipedal figure covered in dark hair, standing between 2 and 3 meters, moving with a speed and silence that observers found difficult to explain. The consistency of these descriptions is one of the features that researchers have pointed to as potentially significant. It is harder to dismiss a pattern that repeats across unconnected individuals and locations. But consistency is also exactly what a persistent cultural image would produce. Once a concept exists widely enough, perception becomes unreliable. Misidentification becomes more likely. A bear moving through brush in low light looks different when the observer already holds a mental image of what they expect to see. And some of the most prominent pieces of evidence have not held up well under scrutiny. The Patterson-Gimlin film, recorded in 1967 at Bluff Creek in California, remained the most debated piece of visual evidence for decades. A documentary investigation has since presented compelling evidence that the footage was staged, with a named individual identified as the figure in the suit. That does not invalidate every other sighting in the record, but it does demonstrate how easily compelling-looking evidence can be fabricated. The Patterson-Gimlin case illustrates a broader challenge in evaluating Bigfoot evidence. When a prominent piece of material is later revealed as fabrication, it calls into question the reliability of the entire evidentiary framework. The film was examined by experts for decades. Serious researchers debated its authenticity. Footprint analysts, movement specialists, and primatologists weighed in. Yet it ultimately failed under closer inspection. This raises an important question about the quality of documentation in Bigfoot research. If the most analyzed footage fails scrutiny, what confidence can be placed in less examined material? Trail camera images that might show a large figure are often ambiguous enough to support multiple interpretations. Footprint casts can be replicated using simple molds, and anecdotal descriptions, however consistent they may appear, represent a different category of evidence from physical material. And that raises a deeper question about what the evidence record actually shows when examined as a whole. Decades of searching, involving thousands of dedicated researchers. Trail cameras covering hundreds of thousands of hours of footage. DNA analysis of submitted samples. Aerial surveys of remote terrain have produced nothing that scientists have been able to confirm as coming from an unknown primate. Every hair sample analyzed has matched known species. Every footprint that could be examined closely enough has shown features consistent with a carved impression or a misidentified track. The absence is not total, but it is significant. Known large mammals in North America, even rare and elusive ones like the wolverine or the mountain lion, leave behind detectable signs. Scat, hair, tracks, occasional carcasses found by scavengers. For a population large enough to sustain itself across centuries, The complete absence of any such material is difficult to explain biologically. Could something still be out there in the forests that science has not yet confirmed? The honest answer is that certainty in either direction would be premature. Scientists are currently describing more than 16,000 new species every year. Estimates suggest that only a fraction of Earth's total biodiversity has been formally catalogued. The deepest concentrations of unknown species are found in tropical forests. But researchers have noted that new amphibians and reptiles continue to appear in the southeastern United States. The ecosystem could support a large omnivore. The forests are genuinely dense and difficult to survey, and some corners of the Cascades and the Northern Rockies have seen almost no formal wildlife survey work. But the gap between theoretical possibility and actual evidence remains wide.